Welcome to Trandescendant. I'm Raya, and I'm the daughter.
And I'm Joe, and I'm the dad.
So, Dad, I started a new nutrition program. Been meeting with a nutritionist who has gotten me eating alphabet soup.
Alphabet soup?
Yes, but only the vowels.
Why?
Sometimes.
Oh, wow.
This is our third anniversary. We're so excited about this podcast and what we've been doing. We've made it to 3 years. Most podcasts don't even make it past the first year.
That's correct.
And so
As a matter of fact, 90%, according to statistics, do not make it past the first year.
It's a really big deal. So this was a big deal, and we thought, what better way to celebrate than to get another family member to come and join us? We figured for our third anniversary, we will do 3 generations. And so we have my son, Kelly.
And my grandson.
Kelly, welcome. We're grateful to have you here.
Hi, guys.
Since you've gone off to college, you found somebody last year that suggested to you that you live in the LGBTQ dorm or on the
Yes.
floor, which I think made all the difference for you.
Yes, it really did.
Yeah. So how did your life change when you went there?
Specifically to the to gay floor.
to the gay floor, yeah.
I haven't lived anywhere other than that on campus, but just like seeing some of my friends' dorms, which would have been where I would have been living if I didn't go to gay floor. I'm glad I'm living where I'm living.
Yeah? Why is that? What do you see as the difference?
There's a lot of different reasons. Some of them are because it's gay floor. Some of them are because the hall that I'm in is just nicer.
Kelly, I think it's interesting that you call it the gay floor. Is that sort of what people call it, or is that just your term that you use when we're talking about it now?
Well, I call it the gay floor all the time. I say a lot of people call it the gay floor.
You don't identify as gay.
This is true.
And so would you talk a little bit about where you feel like you fit in the LGBTQ plus community?
The T, obviously. That's why I'm here. And then also LGBTQIA. You got the A at the end.
Uh-huh. And A is for, can you remind us what that is?
A would be aromantic and asexual.
And so what does that mean for you?
I don't really want to date people. Ever. Aromantic people a lot of the time are viewed as robots or not human because they don't want to date people.
Uh-huh.
And people think that you gotta date somebody or else you're not a real person. And that's dumb. It feels isolating because so many other people talk about dating, and then you just have to be off in the corner because what do I know about dating?
How about the word queer? Is that a word that feels good to you?
Personally, I don't use queer for myself. I know a lot of people use it for themselves. If I were to say something like that, I would be saying gay instead of queer.
Okay, yeah. Whereas, like, I feel like for me, queer is probably a better word. And gay would feel strange to me. Yeah, so that makes sense.
When you first came to college, you instantly decided to walk in as he, him? Or did you wait for a month or so before you did that?
What started this was I had a text conversation with my roommate who I hadn't met yet. It was around a month before we were supposed to move in. He was like, "Hey, I'm your roommate. I use he, him pronouns. What about you?" And I was like, "I use he, they pronouns, but she, her around my mom."
Uh-huh.
And so that's how it started. And then when I got there, my roommate made a nameplate for his door that had his name and pronouns on it. And a lot of people have made those. And so I was like, I'll make one too. So I made one. It said my name and he, they. And that's how it was. And that's what I told my teachers or my professors. And that's what I told friends, anyone that I met at college. That's what they knew me as. So it was kind of an immediate thing. And then at some point during second semester, I was like, I'm taking this nameplate off of my door and I'm making a new one. And this time it says he, him. And actually, me and Raya had a conversation about that.
I remember how the conversation went. And again, even in the midst of it, I was like, well, I don't know. I want to let you set your own, do things how you're doing. And so it's hard to know, I think, as a parent, and I think a lot of parents in our audience can probably relate to this, of knowing where the line is between I want to give good advice and also I don't want to, give too much so that
Don't want to overstep.
I don't want to overstep.
Right. You don't want to run his life.
Exactly. And so that even at that conversation that we had about pronouns, I was just trying to get a sense for what feels authentic to you. And I wasn't sure quite how to have that.
I just remember that we had a conversation about it, and you're like, have you ever thought of using he, him instead of he, they? And I was like, I feel like he, they kind of suits me more. I feel more in between than I do fully he, him. And I think a lot of that was just deep down inside of me being like, maybe I'm not trans enough. Like, I feel like I don't deserve it. I have to keep the they in there so that people are allowed to call me they when they don't want to call me he. So it makes it more acceptable for other people to not call me he. And that's not really the best thing to do, but that's what I wanted to do, maybe to just ease into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that was what I was trying to get at when I was asking those questions is he, they really authentic to who you are, or is it a capitulation to if somebody doesn't really want to treat me how I want to be treated, I'll let them do it this other way. So it sounds like then that kind of you took some time and thought about it. And
yes, I think he, they did fit me for the time that I used it. But I think he, him is what I will be using now and for the rest of my life.
I've seen obviously huge changes in you. Dad has seen big changes in you. How do you feel like your life is different since you've gone off to college?
I think going to college has definitely made me more of a people person. It's made me more confident in myself. It made me be able to actually open up and be myself.
Does it make you feel restricted to come back home and go back to your former self? Is that difficult for you?
Yes.
You're comfortable presenting as male here?
Yes.
Sure. But everywhere at home?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say I'm confident in myself and I am myself everywhere. And majority of people know that, but some people don't like it very much, so I don't really bring it up around them.
I would say from what I observe from the way that you carry yourself, you really not change anything about yourself in terms of how you present for the past probably 2 years even. Was that fair? Like, I feel like you were already having a lot of people quite a while ago that would just, recognize you and would figure that you're one of the boys and would automatically use he pronouns for you and that sort of thing. And you just basically didn't correct them.
Occasionally.
Okay.
I remember one time you came with me. We were packing food to go to a reservation somewhere, if you remember that.
I do.
worked very hard. Both of us did. It took a long time. We took the morning to do that. We were unloading a big reefer truck, and then we were sorting these out into individual boxes of food. And I remember at that time, how long ago do you think that was?
Gosh,
Maybe 3 years?
it's definitely been longer.
Yeah.
I might have been in like middle school.
And at that time, one of the ladies I was working at said to me, "Your grandson is a very good worker." And I said, "That's my granddaughter." And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry." You were recognized at that point as he, him, which I think is a very cool thing.
Yep.
Being transgender and then having a transgender parent, you would think would make it a little bit easier. I would have thought, but I've discovered that no, I don't feel like it has been easier.
We've had different backgrounds with this. We have different situations for so many different aspects of things that, like, not all trans people are the same. So your story isn't going to be the same as mine. So when you're trying to relate to me, it's tough because they're not the exact same thing. I would say a lot of it was just me wanting one thing, not telling you that I want that one thing, and then you assuming that I want the thing that you want.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's what most of it was.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you for that. I blame really nobody, but partly me for not communicating.
The communication in general of figuring out, that I think that makes sense. Are there some things where you feel like it did make it easier by seeing me, or where we do have some things in common?
The thing is, I couldn't tell you because
Come on, you can tell me.
I mean, it's because I haven't lived anybody else's life. I don't know anything other than my life, so I don't know if it actually was easier or not because of you. It could have been, but again, a lot of different situations, scenarios, all leads to this, and it's going to be different for everyone. So there's really no comparing it.
So it's almost like it seems like we have more in common regarding some of our like hobbies that we have in common, like playing guitar, more than being trans.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, which, and I said the other day that since I originally taught you to play guitar, I feel like I should get some of the credit for that. And then you said, but Grandpa taught you to play guitar. So I think you get all the credit then, Dad.
Oh boy, lucky me. Do you find that the people on campus, the students and the faculty, are all fully accepting?
I would say for the most part, majority of people are pretty good about it. I guess maybe I was just living in a little bubble of gayness, because then I heard somebody in one of the common areas, like one of the common buildings, like talking bad about trans people and saying all kinds of things. And I was shocked because I had never heard that on campus before. I assumed everyone was gay.
Well, I can tell you this, that there are people today that you can find anywhere that will still make racial comments and talk about the fact that it doesn't matter who's around or what they say, there will always be people like that. I think there will be people like that for at least another century or maybe two. Look how long it's taken for us to accept the idea that slavery is definitely not acceptable. It's just difficult, and this will continue to be difficult. But the good news is it will get easier, and it'll become much less accepting as time passes. And because we have the media with us, and because we have so many other things with us, the movement collectively is moving in the right direction, which we talked about in a podcast just a couple weeks ago. And we'll talk a little bit more about your college experience right after this.
You have ads?
No,
We asked people to
donate
give. Yeah,
to
because
help support our show.
a lot of people listen to our show and then they would like to be a part of it.
They want to help.
They ask, how can we be a part of this? And so we tell them, you can go to Trandescendant.com, click on the support button.
And you can give as little as $3 a month, and you can cancel anytime.
Was it in March or April that you started T?
April.
April, yeah. And of course, then for the audience that may not be aware of that, of course, T means that you're starting testosterone. So that's
Hormone replacement therapy.
right. So really then letting your body go through all those changes and getting to experience that fun second puberty that we all love so much.
Yep.
What has that been like for you?
It's been interesting, to say the least. I haven't experienced that many changes from it, except my voice is a little lower. I have a little tiny mustache growing in.
I think your voice is quite a bit lower.
I do too.
Thank you.
Yeah, when I called you that day, and it wasn't even that long ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and you answered, and I wasn't sure that it was you. I thought, maybe it was one of the other boys that picked up, and I thought, I just need to double check, who is this that's answering? And you said, it's Kelly.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, yeah, well, that's cool. Your voice has really dropped.
To my perspective, you are presenting so well as fully male that I would be shocked that anyone would, having met you before, would even suspect that they were going to out you or some way. I can't imagine. I mean, you are fully male from my perspective.
A lot of people that don't see me as male have known me for many years. And they just, in their mind, their perception of me will never change, pretty much. So for a lot of people that do see me as male, they had to change their entire perception of me, flip it around. And a lot of people won't do that.
I think it becomes less and less as time goes along. Don't you, Raya?
I think so. But yeah, I can see why that would be especially hard when you came home for the summer.
Yeah.
That being at home with people that knew you as the old you. And then, whereas everywhere else at school and then at your summer job that you had, you chose to go to the next town over where people didn't know you so that you could really get to be yourself.
Exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't say that was necessarily why. It is a perk of not working in the same town that I live in. But it's also, it pays better, and I don't have to work with people that I know.
Right, which would have been more awkward. Being with people that you know and
Yes.
using the wrong pronouns and getting things wrong. And you would have had to have conversations. And one of the things that I've noticed with you is that you, in general, are not super hip on having a conversation with somebody to either talk about pronouns or correct them on pronouns or those kinds of things.
Yes, that is very true.
You generally would just prefer to avoid that conversation altogether. Yeah.
I did at one point, though, in one of my classes at the college that I go to, there was somebody who had misgendered me, but he looked really confused about it. It was actually kind of funny because other times people have misgendered me either on accident, like they knew my pronouns, but they accidentally misgendered me, or they didn't know my pronouns and they just assumed. And for both of those cases, I have been out of commission for the rest of the day. As in, I was crying.
Yeah.
It's tough when you talk about being misgendered because I feel like I feel too many feelings. When you think about it, it doesn't feel like that big of a thing. But then it happens and I keep thinking about it and it ruins my entire day. Back to the original thing I was talking about. At this specific time, the guy who misgendered me looked confused about it and hesitated on whether or not to say it. So I was just like, I use he, him pronouns. And then he goes, okay.
Oh,
and that was a huge win for me.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
well, sure.
Good for you. That's
Exactly.
great. I think it can be very hard for somebody to understand. Like you were saying, it seems like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And yet, when you're going through it, it feels like somebody can, with a single word, invalidate the entire emotional investment that you've made into being who you are.
Mm-hmm. When I got misgendered in my hometown, I just breezed past it because nobody knew. Nobody was doing it maliciously or anything. I was extremely used to it. So then I go to college and I'm like, my pronouns are he, him. Everybody's using it except one person. One person, they misgender me, whether it's on accident or not. It's jarring because I'm in this place that I thought was safe. And I thought everybody saw me the way that I wanted them to see me. And then one person snaps me out of it. It's pretty much telling me, hey, you know how much you've been trying for so many years to get people to see you the way that you want to be seen? Yeah, all of that was for nothing. Because I think you don't look the way that you think you look.
Since you've been working in this other town away from your hometown, has anyone ever misgendered you?
Yes.
Oh, they have.
A few people have. That was when I first started working there. Everybody there knows me now, so they don't anymore because they just know. I don't think a lot of people actually know that I'm trans there.
And that's the best.
Yeah,
I know.
but there was a manager came over to me when I first started working there and was like, hey, somebody used she for you. That didn't sound right to me. So what pronouns do you use? And I went, he, him. And he was like, okay. And then I had another manager who we didn't really get off on the right foot. And she was a higher up manager. So she didn't work with a lot of the actual employees very often. And so when I first met her, maybe she had only known me from like my employee records or like my papers.
Mm-hmm.
So she probably just assumed. So she was calling me she, and I didn't correct her because I thought maybe she's doing this maliciously. Maybe she is purposefully doing this. I'm not going to correct her and make a scene. So I didn't. And then I think enough people used he for me that she just figured it out. So that was nice that I didn't have to talk to her about it. But
and that seems like that's kind of in line with what your ideal situation is
yes.
you like for people to just figure it out.
yes.
Yeah.
And then there was another manager who had just recently become a manager who was using she for me. And that one kind of hurt a little bit because it seemed like she did not, I assume she didn't see any of my papers or identification or anything. So I don't think she knew, but she just assumed based off of looking at me.
Uh-huh.
And used she for me. And another manager had corrected her. I had corrected her multiple times. And she was like, sorry, I'm still getting used to it. So that was a little rough. But she's way better about it now.
That's good.
Everything's fine.
When you think about your future as your authentic self, what's something that you're really looking forward to?
Not having to correct people on pronouns, being able to look the way that I would like to look, and not have to be sad looking in the mirror.
Well, I certainly think you're on the right track.
Me too.
Have you looked into changing your gender marker on your license at all?
I have not even a little bit, because I feel like it's going to be a hassle, and I don't want to do it when I'm already doing so many other things.
That does make sense. It's actually not too bad. If you have anybody that you see at school, like if you see a therapist, you can actually have them write a letter for you and then just bring it to the DMV. It's not too hard to do.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's all you need to do for that. Now, birth certificate's a whole different thing, and that's not really
I don't
gonna
even know where
happen.
my birth certificate is.
Yeah, so we don't need to worry about that one. But as far as driver's license goes, that's the one that most folks see. Mm-hmm. And getting that one done is, that I think that can make a difference for you. Now, unlike me, you chose to keep your name the same.
Yes.
And it sounds like that you are continuing to keep your name. You're not thinking of changing your name at all.
I mean, I have thought about it many, many a time, just because lots of people do it. But I think a lot of people do it because hearing their dead name is like being misgendered. And I don't necessarily feel that way about my name. It is a gender neutral name, so it's a little easier than some people's names. Probably part of it is because I don't want to have to correct people. The whole thing with our differences being that one day you were just like, this is me now. And living that way for the rest of your life, and me being like, I'm going to slowly ease into this.
I know considerably more people with the male gender of your name than I do female.
I think of Kelly as a more feminine name.
Oh.
Probably just because of Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, yeah. I could have done the same thing because I know that with my dead name that there are women that have that name, but that felt wrong to me. It felt like I would have been keeping it. But on the other hand, you're right. For me, I wanted to make a big change, and I wanted the world to know everything is changing. And for you wanted to sort of slide in to it, never make a splash, never make a big issue out of it. You wanted to just be able to be yourself and not have to call attention to it, which I want to say thank you for coming and joining us here on this podcast, because we're talking about a lot of those issues. So thank you for being willing to do that. Is that difficult?
You're welcome. I haven't talked about this really ever with anyone. Like most of it, I've never spoken my thought process out loud.
Well, we are in 64 countries. We have a lot of people listening to us, and there are people out there that are going to be very interested in your story, because they might be in a situation right now in a period where you are, or hoping to be where you are soon. What is one piece of advice you would give to anyone right now who has not yet considered doing anything dramatic, but knows that they are on this path to transition?
I would say take it at your own pace, whatever pace it may be, because you should do what's best for you.
Do you have any regrets of transitioning?
I wouldn't say necessarily a regret. I would say it feels weird because my story is different from a lot of other people's. So there's really nothing for me to have regret about, because I can't really compare it to anyone. Again, because everybody's transition is going to be different. Everybody's scenarios are going to be different. Their situations. So I can't really regret anything if I don't have anything better to compare it to.
Well, I think you show a lot of maturity for your age. And I think I'm interested in the answers that you've been providing for us. And you kept saying over and over, everyone's story is different. That is so true. There are no two stories alike. And that is one of the great reasons why this podcast tries to serve everyone in the LGBTQ plus community and the allies. Because we run into stories all the time, and whether it happens to be a trans person, whether it happens to be a lesbian, whether it happens to be someone out there who is a parent who is unaccepting, there is something on this podcast for them.
And I think you've just really illustrated for us what we've always said, that if you've met one trans person, you've met one trans person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and I are quite different in that sense.
A lot of trans people struggle with mental health. I would say I am one of those people. I had a big struggle in middle school and high school with my mental health. Part of it was from being trans, and part of it was just from being a teenager. But I would say teenagers in general, trans people in general, probably need therapy. I think everybody needs therapy, though. Just in general.
And you found that the person that you were able to see was helpful for you?
Helpful in a way. There's probably not going to be a therapist that's going to help with every single problem you ever have. I've learned that. There will be someone out there to help with specific issues that you may have, such as issues with gender identity.
And when you saw her, did you feel like, or you've seen a few people?
I have seen at least two people. The one that I'm seeing currently and the one that I saw in high school.
Yeah.
I would say both of them have been helpful. There are also a lot of good resources for trans people and LGBTQ plus people, such as the Trevor Project. I'm not sure of any others, but you can find them on the interweb.
Yeah, and we're disappointed because Trevor Project is losing a lot of their funding, but they're really very, very helpful and really important resource for anybody on this journey.
So when you come back, now you've advanced a grade, and there's going to be a whole new group of people coming in. You've got a group of freshmen coming in that have never known you.
This is true.
And they will only know you as he, him.
Mm-hmm.
And that will continue. And as your life goes on, it will be very unusual for you to find someone who remembers you from the days past.
For me, living in the same town that you grew up in, that I also grew up in, that I also graduated from high school in, and that I also knew people who knew me pre-transition, that does eventually change the longer that it's been. Eventually, there are fewer and fewer people. Yeah. So I agree that does become unusual. But you know, one thing that's never unusual is this podcast.
Well, absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe it is unusual.
I'd say it's pretty unusual.
We are grateful to have you coming back week after week. As we are your voice of positivity, giving you ways that you can support your LGBTQ plus loved ones.
If you found this particular interview interesting, we'd encourage you to share it with at least one other person. And if you share it with 5 or 6, we'll send you an award.
Oh, we will. I didn't realize that. We'll have to go order that award.
Exactly, but it will help. Because we're out here trying to spread the word, and as you know, we're dedicated to keeping families together, and we're dedicated to saving lives one podcast at a time. And with that, we'll see you Monday.
And so we have my son, Kelly, who will be joining us today.
And my grandfather. Let me try that again. And my grandson